Yeah, and it was kind of like the same thing with Bobby when we did Beer Money. But with Chris, we were basically no-name guys, just kind of thrown together. But we had worked each other. Like, we had never been a tag team on the independent circus, and we had known each other for, 4 years before TNA even started up. And we always wrestled each other, and we would just beat each other up. We'd go out there and we have nice, good, stiff matches and stuff. And then they didn't really know what to do with us after the first show. So they just decided, hey, let's just put them together, And I remember us just being, and they just called us Harrison Storm for probably 6 weeks or so. And I remember we got in some trouble, like a little bit of trouble down in downtown Nashville. And this lady said to us, you guys cheat that up and you're going to end up on America's Most Wanted. And I said, oh, that's her name. Right there. I said, AMW. And that's how that whole bit came to.
That's awesome, because sometimes it's not even something you think of. It's something random, and it's something that just comes up like that. That kind of makes some of the best stories, or something that you didn't really plan out, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. And same way with Beer Money. Me and Bobby were actually sitting at the L House in Orlando, Florida, and I actually just looked around. I was like, damn it. I was like, I'm out of Beer Money. And he just looked at me. He goes, what'd you say? And I told him, and he was like, that's what we should be called. I was like, oh, it makes sense.
I know that ale house pretty well. That is a great place, and you need that beer money.
My best ideas come when I'm drinking. Imagine that.
Yeah. You can't always script this stuff, right? It's better kind of, like you said, like on the fly rather than trying to script it out.
Exactly. And it's the whole thing, like most of you say. A lot of stuff, some stuff is better, just do it on the fly and see what happens. That's the same way, and I got to thinking, I was like, man, it's like Jake's DDT. Like, he accidentally DDT'd the guy. He didn't, that wasn't his finisher, when he accidentally did it, he killed the guy, and then that was his finisher for then on. So.
Right. Yep. And even like Austin 316, it kind of just came to him because, they said, you got to say something back to Jake. Yeah, it just came to him, yeah. Now, speaking back to AMW, just want to touch on this. You guys were just phenomenal because it was funny. Like you said, didn't really team much before. They kind of just threw you guys together. You're creating the name on the fly. But you guys not only had good matches with the New Church, then they throw a complete curveball, and you're feuding with Triple X, Low Key, Skipper, and Daniels, and you're even having great matches with them. Did it come to a point where it's like, wow, we're really, gelling well as a team. We could wrestle and have a good match with anybody.
Yeah, and to me, that's and I always tell everybody, I was like, I always try to work, to definitely learn how to work different styles. Just don't get stuck wrestling with one style. I can go out there and I can wrestle with anybody. And that's what I always tell people. I was like, you just got to learn the psychology of how to work different people. I can't go out here and I can't do 30 different flips. I know I can't do that. But I can catch the guy who does 30 different flips, And that's what I always tell people. I was like, even if you can't do it, learn to work around that so you still can work that style. And that's what me and Chris did. We just went out there and we just proved that no matter what, we were able to work with anyone. And I think it started getting over, and Jeff and them started seeing that. And Vince at the time, who was writing, was like, wow, okay, because Vince, he didn't want to use us at the time. And then once we started working all these matches and people started talking about it, he's like, all right, well, I gotta start using these damn guys now.
Now, obviously, Vince being Vince Russo, did you get along with Russo then? What was the relationship with Russo?
It was weird just because he being Southern or whatever, he just thought I was some dumb redneck or whatever, and he had me saying buckaroo and all this stuff. I was like, look, rednecks, we don't even talk like that at all. Like, that's just, that's just made up in the movies and stuff. Like, and it wasn't probably until, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I think, when Russo was still with TNA, and he, actually, BG James came up to me. He goes, look, man, you need to go talk to Vince and just see if you can just go out there and just start cutting promos, just being yourself, just being the Southern redneck guy that you are, that only you know how to speak for. And he said, just go tell him, say, look, if it don't work, I'll bite the bullet on it and I'll start doing it your way. But if it works, just let me have a little, leeway on it. He's like, because Vince writes for so many different people, you know, sometimes he just misses the loophole. And I give credit to Vince. Like, I went up to him. He goes, look. He goes, all right. He goes, go out there and just do your thing. And I went out there and I cut one hell of a promo. And Vince said, all right, from now on, you just do your own stuff. I said, all right, thanks, man.
Are you one of those guys that does the bullet points for the promos? Are you one of those guys that kind of just, or you're going to improv the whole thing?
Yeah, I just go out there and I just improv the whole thing. Like I said, it goes back to just feeling the crowd, you know. And it's all about delivery. I mean, somebody can go out there and they can cut a promo and it can be as dull as they want to be, and I can go out there and I can promo word for word and make it good, and people will cheer. It's just, and I always tell people, like, practice your promos. Like, a lot of money is made with guys who can cut promos. Example, The Rock. You know, the guy didn't do a lot of great moves or whatever, but he can talk his ass off. And I said, I always learn talking is what puts butts in seats, and then when you put the butts in seats, then you do the wrestling.